guys, I'm so excited about this episode because I get to meet up with yet another Naked and Afraid legend, one of my favorite cast members of all, the unstoppable Gwen Grimes. It's all in this episode. Let's get to it. All right, well, friends, I am so blown away to introduce the legend, Gwen Grimes. Gwen, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This is amazing.
Absolutely. Love doing this stuff.
That's awesome. How cold is it out there? I'm just curious.
Well, right now I'm sitting at the army base here in Fairbanks, and it is 0 degrees outside.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm not going to complain about the 40 degrees out here in Georgia. So
No, you have nothing to complain about there. That would be pretty nice.
exactly. I wanted to ask, how did you get started with the outdoors and survival techniques and all that?
Oh, geez, I grew up in Oregon, and I was in the mountains from the day I can remember walking. I've always been out in the woods. That's home for me. So
Yeah,
it's been my entire life. That's all I've known.
that's awesome. Well, I'm curious as to how you ended up on Naked and Afraid. What's the story there?
It was really weird. So when I retired from the police department, I moved out into the middle of nowhere. We didn't have any internet, we didn't have any cell phones or anything, and you had to go down to the local library and get onto their dial-up Wi-Fi to be able to even get online. And so, as a cop, I had never had any online presence at all, and so I
Mm-hmm.
ghosted my boyfriend's account if I wanted to go do stuff, right? So I'd been posting some stuff on some medical survivalist shows in his name because I didn't have anything linking me to the internet.
Yeah.
And he got this message on Messenger from this random person, and he's like, "What is this about?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "I don't know. Some casting crew out of LA is saying they want to talk to me. What did you sign me up for?" I'm like, "I didn't sign you up for anything. I don't know what you're talking about." So I hopped on there. I started doing like this grill of this girl, this poor girl. I like interrogate her cop wise, right? Like,
Yeah.
what do you do? How'd you get my number? That kind of stuff. So we have landlines out there. I said, well, call us back on this landline. It's going to take us an hour to get home. Call us on the landline. So she did. And she was like, hey, would you be interested in going on this show? And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking. I never even heard of the show before. Had
Oh,
no clue
wow.
what it was. Not a clue.
Oh
And
my gosh.
she worked us through it, and she's like, well, I'm gonna have a guy named EJ call you and do a survival test. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my
I wasn't
gosh.
buying it.
Yeah, right.
After we got off the phone with EJ, she actually set it up to arrange for Nate and I both. We both flew down to LA like within a week after that phone call, and did casting call. It was pretty weird. It was wild.
Oh,
Total
wow.
cold call.
That is crazy. And I know everybody, you know, they want to make the nudity part of it the biggest focus of the show. I know that's what throws people off the most, I think. When you first heard about this, was that something that, you just said, oh my gosh, or really didn't bother you, or what were your thoughts?
It didn't bother me. Getting naked in front of people is not an issue at all. Like zero fucks given on getting naked in front of everybody. I don't care.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother.
Yeah, well, and I've been able to speak with Gabby and Kai, Wes, Joe. All of them say the same thing. It takes you about that much time to get past all the weirdness and get down to business. Is that how you feel as well?
Yeah, it's not even that. Like, I don't know, the clothes part doesn't even seem like that's the issue. Your
Yeah,
biggest thing is like you start walking in and your feet are starting to hurt, and all of a sudden you realize I don't have any water. Like, I don't have any way to get water unless I find water, and it's friggin' hot out here.
yeah,
And so that's all, you focus immediately on immediate survival. You don't even care about being naked.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say, as a fan, when I watch the show, I have several favorites, and those are the ones that I've been reaching out to. So obviously, you're one of my favorites. But
I
I think,
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, sure. But I think so many of the cast members have something about them that makes them special, and I really relate to you because maybe it's because I'm a Marine, and I don't know. I've got, I guess my trait is leadership, but you just seem to
Hmm.
sit there when I watch you on the show. You seem to be sitting there focused on the team and what's everybody's job. What are you bringing to the team? And it just seems like you're one of the most team oriented people that I've ever seen on the show. Is that something that you picked up from your parents, or being a cop, or where did you get that?
I think that's just always been my personality. Like, I think you're either kind of born with that, wanting to be able to make sure that others around you get through whatever situation you're in.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to make sure that it gets done. Like, somebody's
Yeah,
got to get the job done, and if you don't all do it together as a team, it's going to fail. Mission's going to fail. So
yeah,
you got to pull everybody together. Somebody's got to do it. I don't mind stepping up for that.
absolutely. That is clear on the show, and it hurts when I've watched the Africa episode, and you guys had that one team member. I'm not here to bash anybody, but you had that one team member that was supposed to be in his place, and he wasn't. And you see how much that affected the entire group. Probably not going to eat today because of that, and that just had to be. I can't imagine how frustrating that was.
It's frustrating when that kind of stuff happens. And, when you're out there right in the middle of it and stuff's happening, your emotions are really raw at that point. You're
Mm-hmm.
literally in survival mode, and you're not thinking about being home, sitting at the couch, being able to hop into the fridge to go grab something to eat. You literally, like, that is your next meal. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's coming down the pipe. And if there's not anybody pulling their weight to do what they need to do,
Yeah,
all of a sudden your entire crew doesn't get to eat. Yeah.
that's
So
right.
it does make a difference. And it's hard. It's hard to be in that situation because you put yourself there
Mm-hmm.
and at any minute you could be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, you could, but you don't want to. So you got to punch through it. And it's just a interesting mix of emotions that you have out there because you don't have to be there. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a mental it's a mental challenge, really, is what it comes down to. Do you
Absolutely.
have the mental fortitude to push through to get through this and get the job done?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you, in all that you've done so far on the show, what do you think has been your most challenging moment that you've experienced?
Oh, that's easy. My most challenging moment was swimming out to that extraction boat in Mexico on that 21 day. I
Mm-hmm.
almost drowned, legit. Like, my arm doesn't rotate over my head because of the injury that I have.
Oh,
So
wow.
I can't do like a full breaststroke, right? I can't do a full swim. I can doggy paddle like a madman,
Of course.
but I
Yeah.
can't do a full swim. And we're swimming through these, big old breakers and whatnot, trying to get out there to this boat. And the waves are crashing down on us and it keeps washing me down. I'm trying to
Oh,
stay up and trying to swim. My arm, I couldn't even move my arm to get up into the boat. I had one arm up and they were trying to reach down to grab me to pull me into the boat when I got there. There's
oh
nothing to
my
grab onto
gosh.
because you're buck naked, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
legitimately, like, that was the hardest part of any challenge I've been on, was that extraction swim to that boat.
Wow.
Because I thought I was gonna die. I really did. Thought,
That is
this is it,
horrifying.
game over, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I wanted to ask you what has been your favorite place so far?
Oh man, there's beauty about both places.
Right.
Misery too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, I guess you have to find it while you're there. So it's kind of a toss up because in Mexico, like John and I are sitting there middle of the night, everybody'd gone home. He and I are out there by ourselves. The medics are like 10 minutes away, so we don't see them or hear them. And so we would walk down to the beach in the middle of the night in the moonlight just to cool off a little bit to get down by the water. And they had the plankton that are bioluminescence that would
Uh-huh.
come in, and they'd roll in on the waves, and it was like this strip of greenish blue that was across there.
Oh, wow.
Well, as they wash on the shore, uh, you can literally hop on the sand like you're a little kid. You like hop around on the sand, and the sand starts glowing blue wherever you're stepping. It's like being
Wow.
an avatar. Like it is super cool.
That is cool.
That was like a very memorable moment for Mexico.
Yeah.
And then Africa, it's kind of the same thing. Like you're sitting there, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you've got, an entire herd of elephants that are 20 feet away from you, and you're right there. You're just watching them, or you got giraffes that are just eating your boma. Like you look up and there's a big old giraffe head like looking down at you. Those are magical moments that
Yeah.
you could not even experience on a safari. Like you
Mm.
just can't.
Yeah,
And
really.
just incredible. Yeah.
Man, that's so cool. I've asked this question to a couple of other of the survivalists. If you could design your own challenge, where would it be and who would be your teammates?
Wow. Well, if I could design my own challenge, I think I'd put it somewhere in the Rocky Mountains, uh, where you can actually have the ability to cut down firewood, make shelter, that kind of stuff. It wouldn't be that hard with like if you had an axe and trees big enough that you could cut stuff down, you could build a little cabin. It doesn't take much.
Mhm.
It's a lot of work, but you can get a pretty solid shelter built.
Yeah.
And if you have the right team with you could get a lot of things done. You could, hunt, fish, do all that kind of stuff. But they're never going to put you in an easy place like that ever.
Right.
It's
Right.
not going to happen.
Mhm.
So, you can always wish for the best of shelter building areas or the best areas for water or firewood or whatever. You'll never
Mhm.
see them going on that show. Never.
Yeah. Yeah. So, who would you choose as your team?
Um, I've gotten really close with a bunch of people from Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
Some that I've gone out on adventures with, others that I haven't, that I've just met through travels and whatnot. Um, Wes is a really close friend of mine. He and I have
Hmm.
hung out on the show and off the show.
Hmm.
John, my partner from Mexico, also, I've hung out with him after the show as well. Uh, I really like the dynamics of different personalities that bring different things to the plate. You don't want a
Hmm.
bunch of alphas out there. You don't want a bunch of betas out there. You got to have a good mix.
Hmm.
So everybody that goes out there has these really wild and unique personalities, and they're super cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's so fun to hang out with. Um, but personality wise, the ones that I think I mesh with the best are Wes, John, uh, Sarah,
Hmm.
uh, Tara is really cool. She was really cool to hang out with.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Dan Link, he's super fun to hang out with. He came up to Alaska and hung out with us for a bit, and
Nice.
took him out adventuring out there. That was fun. Yeah, I mean, just everybody that I've hung out with has their own bit of
Hmm.
cool about them. They're just
Right.
so neat and unique individuals. It'd be
Yeah.
really hard to choose who you wanted to go out with.
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, so one final question. I know that there's a lot of confidentiality in what goes on for these shows, but um, I know you can't say, a lot, but would you be open if they were to contact you for future challenges? Would you be open to doing more?
Sure. Yeah. I'll do. I mean, they've put me in some really miserable places, and that's part of the challenge is going from here where we have extreme cold to places where I think they're trying to kill me because it's so ungodly hot.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like 100-degree difference from day one to day two when I finally get there, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die of heat stroke here. And but I love the challenge of it. It's super
Yeah.
cool, and it's neat to meet other people, and those adventures and experiences that you get to have out there. You you cannot you can't replicate that.
Right.
It's just an incredible experience.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, Gwen, I'm so humbled that you would take time to talk to me. You truly are a legend on the show and in so many people's minds. And just blows me away that you take time to speak with me. And I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, anytime, and I really appreciate the compliments. But I'm just as down to earth gal. I'd love to have coffee with you someday if I'm in your neck of the woods. Sit down and grab a bite, drink some coffee, share some stories.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I want to say a very big, heartfelt thank you to Gwen for meeting up with me and taking time to talk with me. I'm so grateful, so thankful to her. Guys, keep watching for more great content. And until I see you next time, I wish for you and all your family and friends peace and blessings. I'll see you soon.